It's Mark here from Talk Beliefs and Neil from Reason Now, and we've had a lot of news reports to go through this week, haven't we? Loads of them.
We could have covered a man who worked as top conversion therapist at Gay Cure Centre, comes out as gay.
Really? What a surprise.
What a surprise. We've done this sort of story before. But you may have been brought up to believe it's wrong, but just give another man a hug, see how it feels. You might like it.
These conversion things, as we've done before, they do not work. They just teach you to suppress who you really are. And as always happens, the guy in charge ends up going off with a man.
It happens so often. So we could have done that, but we'll be returning to the gay subject.
Same old. So skip that.
A bit later. We could have covered the Roe versus Wade.
Oh yeah. That's happening, isn't it?
The law that protects women's rights to choose what to do with their body is being challenged. And we definitely will cover that later on in another episode once we know more about what's actually happened with that. But it's not looking good right now.
It's not, no.
And then the religious zealots have managed to get Trump to side with them. It's the whispering Mike Pence, as you call him.
Yes. The POTUS whisperer, Mike Pence. He's told him to do the Bible literacy thing.
Yeah, getting schools to teach Bible literacy classes if they want to, which goes against the law in America, but
most Christians tell me that you shouldn't take it literally, that a lot of it, i.e. the stuff they get confused by, is just metaphor.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't really do the literacy thing. Anyway.
Yeah, but I like Seth Andrews' reply on this. Okay, but make sure that they include the pro-slave and torture verses, Balaam's talking to a donkey, Josephus roasting his daughter as a human sacrifice, because I bet they don't tell kids that one very often, the evils of eating shrimp and lobster, rules about intermingling fabrics, but most importantly, don't let a woman teach the class.
Absolutely.
So there's a funny thing, but that's going to be interesting going forward because again, that's going to get challenged in the courts.
Yes.
So that will be an interesting story going forward. But so
shrimp is evil, though. It depends on where you buy it.
It can taste lovely, but it can do evil things to you if you eat it and it's slightly out of date.
If you put it in the fridge and then warm it up again.
Yeah, it can do evil things to you. But what did we choose to go with, Mark?
Okay, well, I couldn't say no to this. DC Comics, who of course are famous for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all those, they are coming out with a comic book which have got the Christians, their knickers totally in a twist here. It's called The Second Coming. Second Coming #1 is coming out soon, and yes, this is exactly what it sounds like, and I'll read the official description from the DC website. Witness the return of Jesus Christ as he is sent on a most holy mission by God to learn what it takes to be the true Messiah of mankind by becoming roommates with the world's favorite savior, and the all-powerful superhero Sun Man, the last son of Chris Pex. But when Christ returns to Earth, he's shocked to discover what has become of his gospel, and now he aims to set the record straight. Well, I was surprised that they came out with this, actually, but it seems they are going ahead with it in March.
Yeah, so it's not a comic about multiple orgasms. It is indeed a comic about the return of Jesus Christ. But they've got their knickers in a twist, some evangelicals.
Yes, and this is only going to help sales. And if you go to citizengo.org, which is a petition site, what they have here is they've set up a petition to try to ban this comics. And it goes like this. DC Comics is set to release an outrageous and blasphemous new series featuring Jesus Christ as the sidekick for an all-powerful superhero. Let DC Comics know that this comic is inappropriate. It should be immediately pulled from their release schedule. According to Fox News, the Second Coming comic reimagines why Jesus left Earth the first time and is coming back again. Author Mark Russell recently shared a bit about the concept behind his comic. He explained, God was so upset with Jesus' performance the first time he came to Earth, since he was arrested so soon and crucified shortly after, that he has kept him locked up since then. Can you imagine the media and political uproar if DC Comics was altering and poking fun at the story of Muhammad or Buddha? This blasphemous content should not be tolerated. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. His story should not be ridiculed for the sake of selling comic books. When asked how long the series will continue, Russell explained, "We're slated for 6 issues, but the goal would be to turn it into an ongoing series if the reaction is positive." And it goes on, "Let DC Comics know that the reaction is most assuredly not positive. If we can stop the initial release, hopefully, we can ensure that there are no future releases. Please sign this petition below if you agree that DC Comics should pull this blasphemous series." So they're not happy.
No.
I wonder how many they got. I have to check that. How many signatures?
But initially, it's not even out yet. We don't know how it's going at all. It could be
that
totally
doesn't
on
stop.
Christianity's
That
side.
doesn't
It
stop
could be
butthurt to religious people.
It could be Jesus, like literally talking about his Gospels and how we're not living them today. They have no idea what this is about yet, really.
Yeah, I know, but because it's not official biblical canon.
And this whole thing about blasphemy, it's good that we live in a world that doesn't have blasphemy rules, for God's sake. That's why we don't get people having their heads chopped off.
Like in certain countries, like we mentioned in previous shows.
So that's an absolute positive that people can release this stuff. You don't like it, don't buy it, don't read it, but
they're just going to increase sales because of all this kicking up a fuss. And for all we know, it might actually get people interested in Christianity, which apparently the Mormon Church has said that the Book of Mormon musical, which makes fun of the Mormons, has actually helped dredge up an interest in the Mormon Church.
Yeah, so it's just a comic. It's just a comic. You should take it as a bit of pride that the Christian faith can be mocked and still be strong in your faith. What is wrong with that? I mean, Catholic Church has been mocked for centuries and it's still going. I don't understand this. And do you really want to move to a country where we're cutting people's heads off for saying the wrong thing about your deity?
And these same people would be upset if a bunch of Muslims got upset about something which they considered blasphemous. And
they would, but that's not a reason for us to... Why are we trying to raise to the lowest level possible? They would, and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. So let's not raise to the lowest level, for Christ's sake.
Well, we're gonna watch this closely because this is interesting.
I'm going to buy the first copy.
Will it appear over here in England? I don't know.
I'll probably have to get it posted over.
Yeah, well, I'll have a look in Forbidden Planet in London. That's got everything. So, yeah. And speaking of the Muslim world, this comes from a local-ish paper, the birminghammail.co.uk. Counsellor backs Muslim mums who accuse school of promoting homosexuality. Alam Rock counsellor Mohammed Idris has said being open about LGBT in the classroom is not a good idea. A counsellor has called for peace talks between protesting Muslim parents and a school promoting homosexuality, but stated the children are too young. On Friday, Birmingham Live reported how a group of angry parents protested against a curriculum supporting homosexuality, LGBT, and equality in the classroom. Andrew Moffat, assistant head teacher at Parkfield Community School, who produced a book about his experiences after he resigned from Chilwell Croft Academy in 2014 because there were complaints from parents about his sexuality. So what seems to be going on here, Neil, is there's this new course, this new scheme in this school where children of a certain age, I'm assuming this is primary school age, are being taught, there is such a thing as LGBT. And some people, specifically some of the Muslim parents, who of course they follow Islam and that is not permitted in Islam whatsoever, are getting very upset about this. And I think the children are too young, but basically they just don't like it at all.
It's not just Muslim parents that get upset about this at all. There's many parents get upset about this.
It just happens to be because it's a mostly Muslim school.
Yeah,
it just happens to be a Muslim mum.
And I think these people get very, very confused about things promoting homosexuality.
They always use the word promoting, don't they?
How's it promoting? It's not trying to sell you it as a lifestyle. You're not going to read this book and then go, "Oh, I'm going to be gay."
That's what they think is going to happen.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. But all it's saying is gay people exist.
Yeah.
You might come across a friend who's got 2 mummies. You might come across a friend who's got 2 daddies. I tell you what, that kid isn't going to give a shit that he's got 2 mummies.
And chances are they've heard about it, because you hear much more about it on TV and films now than, say, even 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, they already know about it.
I know. It's nonsense.
But this idea of promoting, like it's, promoting golf, like they're all going to say, oh, I like this golf, I'm going to sign up and become a golfer. It's not the same.
No.
It's not. They're not going to all go off and pair off with people of their own gender. Not that it would matter if they did.
And this is a relatively new thing in the Muslims protesting against this, because a few hundred years ago, gays were celebrated in the Muslim community as having sort of the spirit of a man and a woman in them.
That's certainly changed.
Yeah. So it's the hardline reading of the texts is relatively new, unfortunately. But yeah, it's not promoting, it's not trying to sell your kids something. They're just books that have 2 dads, 2 mums. Stop worrying so much.
And the article goes on, but Mr. Moffat, who is openly gay, and the No Outsiders program has come under fire from some Muslim parents who condemn such teachings, as homosexuality is forbidden in Islam. Teachings of equality and LGBT acceptance in society has resulted in some parents, including Mum of 3, Fatima Shah, taking their children out until lessons are scrapped or drastically changed. Parkfield Community School has, though, defended the program, which they say has been fully explained to the parents. The school said, "No Outsiders allows us to raise awareness of these differences so that children are able to tolerate and accept differences in our society." Like, I don't know, being Muslim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you see a correlation?
It would have been nice if it had been correct and said, as homosexuality is strictly forbidden in certain sects of Islam.
Yes.
Because some parts of Islam are much more tolerant of everyone around the world.
Like Christianity as well.
Yeah, like Christianity. So we need to get away from this thing that all people who follow Islam hate gays. It's a small part of the of the religion. And
what the comeback is that yes, but this school, it's a predominantly Muslim school. Yes, but it's not a faith school.
No, it's not a
faith school. Much as we don't really care for them, they can then put down whatever rules they want. But
hopefully that will change and they won't be able to.
yeah. But at the moment,
this is a public school, which means they have to follow the curriculum. This is in the curriculum that you have to teach. These issues now.
And this is bringing church and state, whatever you want to call it, clashing together where they should be apart.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I mean, my own opinion, she's keeping her kids out of school. Well, we have laws to deal with people who keep their kids out of school.
Yeah.
That would be my answer to that one.
Yeah.
And I would also go further and say we should ban homeschooling so kids have to attend a school and go through the national curriculum and learn these things, because it doesn't do anyone any favours to have kids being brought up with homophobia. And
or they could take the kids out of the class, but why spend all this time and effort campaigning and everything to change things? Because, as I say, it's not a faith school. This is a public school. Yeah,
and at the moment you can ask to have your kids withdrawn from certain classes over here. I don't think that should exist either.
I mean, look at the Jehovah's Witnesses kids. There's so many things which they don't do, and they sit in the back of the class and, oh no, I cannot sing this song. No, I cannot have a birthday party. No, I cannot do the Christmas pageant with you guys. That happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, and it is slightly ironic that it's a minority that is basically having a go about talking about another minority in the country.
And one other part of the article which is interesting here. Jen Leavesley from Erdington, who is a former school governor and openly supports the No Outsiders program being taught to school children, says No Outsiders has a much wider remit than just homophobia and LGBT. It's about disability and race as well. So perhaps the Muslim detractors should take that on board.
Yeah, it's just a program to try to build social cohesion between different types of people.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to sell anyone anything.
Yeah.
So,
but unfortunately they think it's a sin and it's nothing to do with race and disability. They're separate and never the twain shall meet, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Luckily, I think this is one subject we're slowly moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So...
Well, we'll watch that, and I'm not too surprised that it's happening, even in this day and age. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, have you heard of Joyce Meyer?
I know she's done some books, but I don't really know much about her.
Yes,
I think she's written some self-help books or something. She claims her self-help.
She's an evangelical preacher, minister. She sounds like a very harsh sort of school marm. She's had more plastic surgery done to her than I think anyone on earth, and she preaches a lot about the prosperity gospel. You know what that is, don't you? You give 10% of your earnings to God, in other words, to her ministry, and God will reward you 10 times over. So if you give us money, you'll get a lot back somehow, sometime.
Yeah, somehow a load of magic money is going to appear in your account.
Yes, which works wonderfully well in America.
It works wonderfully well for the evangelical preachers.
Oh, it does. Yes, Joyce Meyer is known for her, very large, solid gold mansion, and it sort of says, yes, it really does work well for her. But now, apparently, according to this article from Relevant magazine, Joyce Meyer says her views on prosperity and faith got out of balance with what the Bible says. So she's kind of walking it back a bit. Joyce Meyer has posted a surprising video on Instagram where she seems to walk back some prosperity gospel and word of faith theology. In the clip, she flatly says, "I'm glad for what I learned about prosperity, but it got out of balance. I'm glad for what I learned about faith, but it got out of balance," explaining every time someone had problems, it was because they didn't have enough faith. If you got sick, you didn't have enough faith. If your child died, you didn't have enough faith. Well, that's not right. Clearly God is not speaking to her clearly enough.
Oh, she's having some doubts, isn't she?
Yeah. Meyer is an extremely popular TV preacher, pastor, and writer, but her critics have associated her with controversial teachings that seem to equate financial prosperity with the gospel and teaching that life problems are the result of lack of faith. But in the video, she says, there's nowhere in the Bible where we're promised that we'll never have any trouble. I don't care how much faith you've got, you're not going to avoid ever having trouble in your life. Well, I'm not quite sure why she's walked back. I think this would be a good time to listen to one of her typical sermons, which she gives to these enormous crowds in these mega churches, where she talks about, basically, if you give to the Lord, He's going to reward you 10 times over.
I got fire in my belly tonight because I know that there's power in life in right words, that words are containers for power. And I don't care what kind of a mess you've got. I am begging you tonight to stop talking about it and start talking about what the Word says and what you can have. Make yourself a list. Do some work. Do some homework. Make sure you've got a scripture to back up every one of your confessions. We're not talking about some magic, goofy, weird, new age thing. I'm talking about doing what the Bible says, calling those things that be not as though they are, prophesying to the dead, dry bones in your life. Oh, you dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Maybe you need to get your checkbook out and say, oh, you checkbook, hear the word of the Lord. You are not going to stay empty all of your life. Oh, somebody says, well, this is just too weird for me. Well, then just stay broke. What you're doing's not working. You listen to me, checkbook, the first 10% of everything that goes into you is going to God's work, and you are going to be full to overflowing. And I am going to be blessed, and I'm going to be a blessing.
So that is what she's known for, Neil. And now we can only speculate as to why she is going back on that. Why do you think?
Yeah, she had a prick of conscience or what? What's going on here? This is very strange.
Perhaps somebody
clearly saying it doesn't work.
Did she get a scary letter one day at the post from the IRS or something?
A lot of these people are chased by the IRS.
What do you think?
But I don't know. It's very strange because she's clearly saying it doesn't work, which by definition means she's saying don't send us any more money because it's not going to stop you having troubles.
This is a very new news piece here, so I think some more is going to come out on that, and perhaps we should watch this. And,
it's easy to say when you've already made millions and millions out of out of people, so maybe it's just a good ploy. Now she's got enough money in the bank to go, no, all those people are bad.
Yeah, she's much older than she looks. Again, she's had a lot of facelifts. I think she's 70 odd, but
I don't see
or maybe she did have a genuine, change of heart. Perhaps.
She may have. That may come out, but
yeah.
I don't see her here saying, I'll give all the money back. I don't see her calling for other evangelical Christians to get rid of their gold mentions and.
Well, maybe she'll donate one of her helicopters, to charity or something. I don't know, but perhaps she did actually wake up one morning and think, I can't do this to people, Maybe she's met someone who sort of like had a really bad time because they were sending their money to her rather than actually feeding their family properly. It could be that she actually met some of these people who are suffering at the moment.
But the great takeaway is don't worry about the prosperity gospels. Don't worry about giving 10% of your money to church, because you ain't getting any back.
Yeah.
So, look after yourself. Spend it how you wish.
I can't think of any actual prosperity gospels as such.
No,
I certainly wasn't taught that in Sunday school.
No, it's a nonsense, isn't it, that's made up by these TV preachers.
Yeah.
Just to basically get you to send them their money.
The one Bible story I remember growing up with is that, I guess it was Jesus who said that a rich man going to church, he gives all this money, he puts it in the pot. Poor woman comes along and puts some money in the pot. But the Lord was more pleased with the poor woman because she gave all she got. And the rich man had tons. It was just, chump change to him.
But how you can then read that as you give God something, your bank account's going to get filled up later, like she was saying in the clip, is nonsense. Maybe if you believe there's a heaven and you're going somehow your life's going to be filled with the spirit of Jesus or something like that. Well, it has to be because you've got no money left, so you better be filled up with something.
Yeah.
But nowhere does it say, your bank account will be filled up if you send us some money.
No, it talks about riches in heaven.
Yeah.
Whatever that might actually mean. I don't know if it means like actual, treasure chests full of coins.
Yeah, your checkbook goes up to heaven. You sort of it's like a transferable account. You're going from Metro Bank to the Bank of Heaven. Yeah, very, very quick transfer. Yeah, and then you just spend for eternity. Yeah. But okay. I guess this is we need to find out. I'm gonna take a guess that at some stage she's gonna roll back on this and say, she didn't mean it like that. Keep sending me your money.
Oh, well, you're just being too cynical now, Neil.
Yeah. Okay. Life will do that to you.
All right, we're going to, as we say, we're going to see where that one goes. And we're going to see where the week takes us as well. And I will see you here next week.